So, Tammy Murphy is running for the U.S. Senate in my old state of New Jersey. And I know no one in New York really, well, few people in New York care about New Jersey. Tammy Murphy, anybody who's familiar with politics in New Jersey in the last 6 years, knows that Tammy Murphy is the Hillary Clinton of the Murphy administration. She has an office in the governor's office, unprecedented in the history of first women or first ladies in New Jersey. And she inserts herself into party politics, fundraising, that sort of thing. She's presenting herself in this shot. I mean, look at this. Look at this woman. The Murphys are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And Phil Murphy in 2017 became governor by spreading money around the state of New Jersey to party operatives, consultants, promising the maximum donation to every county Democratic organization, which I believe at the time was $37,500 a pop, may still be. But Murphy, that's chump change to a guy like Phil Murphy. So he, his wife, his kids, his friends, his wealthy friends from Goldman Sachs, all can donate these large contributions, $37,000 each, to county organizations, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. So the Murphys bought the gubernatorial nomination in 2017 for Phil. And they did that by pushing out less well-financed, although politically powerful people. But the other way they did this was by co-opting the progressive movement in New Jersey, if you will, by being to the left of everybody else who was potentially running. Steve Sweeney, Steve Fulop, I think Phil Murphy basically threatened him and pushed him out of the race. That's pretty much a given in most people's opinions. And the guy played cutthroat politics, got the nomination by going to the left of everybody else, and has evolved into governing in his second term like a old-time political hack. And Tammy here is a manifestation of that.
As Mrs. Murphy, the First Lady.
Mrs. Murphy, the First Lady. No, she's the first political operative of the Murphy administration. And this woman was accused of covering up a rape. Her hires in her governor's office, and I'm calling it her office, in the Murphy administration gubernatorial office, have been accused of sexual harassment, and she skates around all this stuff.
Talking about you and this run, and got some eye rolling, and heard a lot of, I guess, resentment about you getting into the express lane and replacing particularly a long-serving Latino. A lot of this came from women of color. Do you acknowledge that that sentiment is out there, and how have you or will you address it? Anybody say that to you? Anybody express that resentment to you?
To be honest with you, can't really name anybody.
And this is Tammy Murphy's own X account announcing her candidacy. And she gave the interview you just saw a few days after this, acting as if she had no idea what people thought of her candidacy in any way, shape, or form that might be negative. So let's review it for her. First comment I come across. Unfortunately, we will be supporting Andy Kim. You're a wonderful lady, but sorry. Laughable. You're a clown. Hell no. More Dem lies. No, I love you. I love your husband. Okay, no counting for taste. But I'm giving my vote to Andy Kim. You're gross. Disaster. Good luck, Tammy. Finally, we're in your corner. So we're, how many comments in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I like this. 9. Another entitled Blue Bubble Elitist. Just what the world needs. So we get down to like 10 before you get to a positive comment. Disaster. Then 13, another. Nobody likes your husband. Not a chance. Not a snowball's chance. I have nothing against you. I really mean it. You're a good person. This is like this guy's dumping her after dating her a couple of times. He's supporting Kim. Andy Kim, I don't know this guy, but Andy Kim is as close as you're going to get in politics to an organic, real candidate that isn't manufactured, isn't some wealthy elitist like the Murphys taking an office by buying it. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He has a background working in the Obama administration as a kid. He was an intern, I believe, and he worked his way up, and he won a House seat in a very swing district in New Jersey 4 years ago. And he's been, by all accounts, an extremely effective, credible, and level-headed political leader. And why Tammy Murphy feels that she needs to insert herself in this race because there is not a viable option is just absolutely preposterous. And what's more preposterous is that she's claiming she has no idea people don't think this is a good idea. This is her own comment section on her own X account. Look at this stuff. You're hard pressed to find one comment out of how many comments? Out of 576 comments. Most of them are absolutely not only negative, they're absolutely revolted by her candidacy, as they should be. I'm going to do this New Jersey stuff because I spent my political life there. I have very strong opinions about the way politics works in New Jersey. I think it's extremely corrupt. I think two of the most wealthy governors we've had in New Jersey, John Corzine and now Phil Murphy, both from Goldman Sachs, both wealthy enough when they came into office that they could have done this absolutely the right way and moved New Jersey out of the category of being the most corrupt state in the union politically. But no, instead what Phil Murphy has done, and John Corzine did not as quite a bad version of this, but Phil Murphy's totally sold himself out. He's been co-opted by the political bosses. He's probably sold to the county organization bosses in Hudson and Bergen and Essex and Camden with George Norcross. All of these folks, he's probably sold them a number of promises, carte blanche, for the next 2 years of his administration. Last 2 years, he's term limited, so he can get his wife a Senate seat. It's revolting. So here you go. More. Look at this stuff. Nobody wants this. This comment with the lampshade and the fishnet stockings. I'll be reviewing Tammy's clothes, I think, in another single episode of this. Here's another one where somebody's pointing, no thanks, and they put this up. Now this is about pointing out, excuse me, can't get this to work. This is pointing out that Tammy was a Republican. That's what this is all about. Let me see if I can get this. Here you go. See? She was a Republican, and that's what this is pointing out. This is a joke that Tammy Murphy thinks she is the absolute logical choice for this. So just looking at the reaction on her own Twitter account, and I must say, I don't think the Andy Kim people, the campaign itself, I don't think this is the way they operate politically. I think this is organic. I think people really are revolted by this, as they should be. This is just amazing. Look at this. Look at this crap. This is, I think, Andy Kim's first ad, which is really fascinating. If you've been a politician, I've been one. I've worked as a staffer and a consultant, and I've been a candidate. Every campaign that's of any consequence, you have to do focus groups and polling. So Andy Kim this is clearly a focus group of some sort that Andy Kim has turned into an interview session with the candidate himself. Typically, the candidate is behind a glass one-way mirror and watching what people are saying to a professional interviewer. Kim goes into the interview and actually dialogues with the people directly and makes it an ad. Tammy Murphy, on the other hand, up here, when you go back, this is a slickly produced, scripted announcement video on her behalf. You just looking at those two things, you can't see more of a comparison than that. And these old time photos, look at this woman, Pan Am hat. She's in first class on Pan Am as a kid. This is a privileged woman who was born in Virginia, was a Republican until her husband in 2006, I believe, became the finance chairman of the Democratic National Committee. And only then did she switch from being a Republican to being a Democrat. And here she is acting like the savior of the Democratic Party in this slickly produced announcement video. And then when you fish through all of the highly negative comments about Tammy Murphy that she doesn't know anything about in interviews on television a few days later. So obviously she doesn't look at her own comments in her own Twitter account. Yuck times a million. I would agree with that. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. If I had the time, I would go through this and count how many positive comments there are out of the 576. But go to Tammy Murphy NJ, at Tammy Murphy NJ on X, and peruse it for yourself. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You know, I used to work for Jim Florio, who nobody knows who Jim Florio is anymore, but he was the governor of New Jersey between 1990 and 1994. And he was extremely unpopular because he passed the huge tax increase, a $2.8 billion tax increase, which at that time was ridiculous. And people went nuts. But not as nuts as they're going against Tammy Murphy. I don't think the Murphys get it. And Phil Murphy, who has his own record as governor, and especially when it comes to overlapping issues of question with how they quote unquote tolerated Mr. Menendez's, Senator Menendez's behavior. Now they're acting like they're the answer to it. I mean, no, I don't think this is working. This is not a sale. Even in New Jersey, this is not going to work. And New Jersey, I'll get into that later, is controlled by party lines. Here it is right here. New Jersey County line system is undemocratic and shouldn't be supporting political dynasties. Phil Murphy promised progressives that he would do away with the line system. And now, for his wife, they're using it. He talks about reform and being a progressive, but his walk is 100% compliant with corruption and county organizations, and that's the problem here. So, I mean, I think I got to the end of the line. I didn't see really. I'm not seeing any. I wouldn't vote for her. She's as crooked as her husband. I'd say she's the hammer in a velvet. I wouldn't even call it a velvet glove. She's the hammer in that administration. I think Phil is just walking around waving and putting on double pins, flag pins to somehow make himself look, I don't know, he looks like a small Latin American dictator in those pins, in my opinion. But I don't know, I guess he's following that, All right. Well, more on Tammy Murphy coming as much as I feel compelled to. I think I will feel compelled quite a bit.